Okay. Good morning, everyone. Just checking out the technology. So hopefully you're finding this. When you join, if you're joining live, if you could, today, let me start with the date. Today is June 3rd, 2020. If you're joining live, if you could just say hello. Wonderful. Hi, Kathleen, to make sure it's coming through. Thank you. Good morning. Hi, Kenny. And for those who might not know, with StreamYard, you actually have to give permission for StreamYard to share your name for the first time. So if you haven't done that before, it just pops up as Facebook user. And I don't know who it is. So that's just for something for permissions. But I see you both, Kathleen and Kenny. So thank you. You must have done that. So good morning. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. And before we get started, I just want to say a few words about grounding and about these meditations. And, I started offering these, it's been a couple months now when we started, right when we started getting, in this pandemic and kind of stuck at home. Good morning, Therese. And as a way to really help people kind of counter the anxiety and the heightened feelings and uncertainty that we were feeling as part of the pandemic that was happening. And you might have experienced it to a greater or lesser degree, but collectively there was a lot of fear and uncertainty and anxiety. And so I started these grounding meditations then as a way to help that. And I just want to say right now that grounding is so important. And, hi, Mary, it's not something that we do just for the sake of grounding. It's very important as we go about our days. But to just ground for its own sake is not necessarily why we do it or what's important. And I'll just say briefly that grounding now is perhaps more important than ever in this world. But the idea is that you ground so that you can then come and meet the world from that place, so that you can actually step forth in your daily actions and your daily life in a different way. So I wanted to just highlight that and say that, because as we go about meeting the world with the ever-changing circumstances and the events that are unfolding right before our eyes, it's important to ground, and it's important to meet the world from that grounded place. And that's why we do this, not to ground just for the sake of grounding and then, great, I'm good. Where does that get you? What does that give you in your life and in the rest of the world? And I think that's the question to ask. So we start from this place and we take those moments to actually ground. So let's begin. Take a few moments, settle into your seat, let your body let you know and tell you if there's any change that is needed in your physical body as you settle. So take a few moments and just let your body speak to you and find that physical settling. And once you feel like you've landed, maybe you're in a chair, maybe you're sitting cross-legged, whatever that is, let yourself settle and take a deep breath in. And with your exhale, feel your physical body actually settling. And let's do 2 more like that. Deep breath in and a full exhale. And 1 more like that. Deep breath in, and then feel the physical body settle. And then if your eyes are closed, take a moment and open them. And let's start with a practice of orienting. Just take a moment and look around the room. Let your eyes lead the way. So let them softly sort of take in what's around them. Again, see if you can let the eyes be soft in the head, just resting back in the head, not out and looking for what you can see. Let it be a sort of soft looking, and take a couple more moments, maybe even behind you, down, just noticing where your eyes land. And perhaps you feel a sense or something shifting in your body. Maybe you feel a deep breath come on, or a sigh, or a yawn, or just even more settling in your body. And that's an indication that something has landed for you in that practice. So when you do that, when you feel that, you can come back to the center. And even if you don't, that's fine. It can take a while sometimes for that to build up. And then let your gaze come back forward. And then you can decide from here if you would like to continue with your eyes open or closed. If they're open, you can let the eyelids be sort of soft so that the eyes can feel a little relaxed. And take another moment or two to settle in. And as we practice learning to connect with and listen to our physical body, I'm going to just take a few practices and a few moments here to move the body in a certain way. And so just for a few moments, and again, this can be with your eyes opened or closed, I'm going to take 3 times in a moment of opening your eyes your mouth as wide as you can, as if you were a snake, opening and stretching the mouth. And then we'll relax it. So we'll do that together. So take a deep breath in and then release the jaw and soften. And again, big breath and open the mouth wide. Really stretch it out and then exhale and soften. And one more time. Deep breath in. And then exhale and soften. And take a few moments and let that practice just integrate. See what you notice from doing that practice. Sometimes we unknowingly are holding tension in various parts of the body, and jaw is often where that tension can land. And so sometimes just releasing that, stretching it, opening it can help to release that tension and then aid in our body's capacity to ground. So just take a few moments and notice how the jaw feels, how the neck feels, or anything else that you observed from just that small, short practice there. And then take another few slower, deeper breaths and start to let the exhale really be noticeable. I'll invite you to draw your awareness to your hips and especially to the base of your pelvic floor between your hips. So likely where you're sitting on the surface below you. And just for a moment, start by drawing your awareness there. Notice what happens as you observe it. As you just place your awareness there at the base of the hips. Even the simple practice of pure awareness can shift things and can shift your energy. So just notice what's happening for you and if that feels true for you. And then begin to feel your energy dropping down towards the earth from that place, from the base of your hips. And you might imagine, if it's helpful for you, an image of grounding, perhaps something like a tree or roots or a waterfall or a big marble column. If that helps you to feel the energy going down, then invite that in. If that doesn't, then let that go. Some people like to have an image of what it is that's actually grounding. Regardless, you start to feel your energy from the base of your hips going down into the earth. And letting go through all the way down through the mantle of the earth, through all the soil and the rock, all the way down towards the center of the earth, which is a long ways down. And let this be a slow journey. There's no need to rush it. Just as in life, this isn't a sprint practice. This is a distance practice. And so just allow your body to start to feel its energy shifting down into the earth. Let it be an invitation. And maybe you feel something shift and maybe you don't. Maybe that you can visualize, maybe you can't. Whatever your experience, to start to trust that it's happening. And also know that part of this guiding is that I'm holding space and I'm actually assisting the whole group in grounding. So just know that that's happening as well. And then just to support this, bring your awareness to your tailbone. So slightly back from where your awareness had been, and start to feel the grounding coming down from your tailbone. So same thing, it could be the same image, a different image, no image, but the same intention of feeling grounding coming down out of your tailbone, down towards the center of the earth. And again, let that be an invitation. It can be a slow journey. There's no need to force that. And I want to add one more component here. You can bring your awareness to the sides of your hips, or where the sciatic nerve and the sciatic area of your hips, so more on the side. And again, on both sides, start to feel your energy from the hips, the side, that sciatic area, also going down into the earth and grounding. And so now we've got these 4 places: the center of the hips, the tailbone, and then the 2 areas on the side, more that sciatic area. And just start to feel them all settling down and going down towards the center of the earth. And again, let it be an invitation. There's no need to force. I can really feel that you're all doing this strongly and getting the sense of this. And I want to take 1 minute in silence so that you can just invite and do this practice on your own. So we'll have 1 minute here in silence. And then noticing what you feel, what you observe, both at the level of your physical body and of your energy body. How does the breath land and feel in this? And what do you notice just in that whole level of the mind moving down? Just be curious and know and observe what you notice. And I'd like to just offer, while you're in this practice of grounding, let this be you taking up your space on this planet, taking and standing in your place on this planet. Your body, your being, your soul is here for a reason and has a place on this planet. So let the practice of that also, and the knowing of that, also ground you. And just as you do have this place on the planet, so does everyone else. And let your knowing expand to that reality, expand beyond yourself and to everybody else on this planet. And just let yourself rest for another few moments in that knowing. And perhaps feel or sense any expansion that comes with that knowing and with that understanding. And then I'll invite you to bring your awareness to your feet. If you're sitting cross-legged, it's fine. If you're sitting in a chair with your feet on the floor, you can feel perhaps a little more directly, but start to feel energy from the earth where you've just been grounding into, come back up through the legs. So just start feeling it through the feet. And if you are sitting cross-legged, I sometimes feel it through the sides of the legs. It doesn't matter. Just start to bring and draw up the energy from the earth into your legs. Let it slowly crawl through the ankles, the shins and the calves, the lower legs, up through the knees. Yeah, there you go. And all the way up through the thighs and the quads, the hamstrings, all the way into the hips, just where you've been grounding. Let it fill up the hips. That whole pelvic bowl gets filled with energy from the earth. And earth energy is very healing, very nurturing. And just start to notice and feel and receive that energy. And I think it's important to actively receive. That can sometimes be difficult to take and receive healing energy for some people. So just notice if that's true for you. Just know that there's plenty of earth energy to go around for everybody who accesses it, for anybody who wants. So allow it to come generously up your legs, swirl around in the hips. Let it fill you up. Take in that deeply healing and grounding energy from the earth. Just notice and feel how it can fill your hips. All the areas that we were grounding in before can receive and take in this healing energy. And when it feels so full that you could almost let it just overflow, do that. Let it overflow from that pelvic bowl and go right back down your grounding, right back into the earth. So it comes and heals you and your energy through the legs, and then just let that come right back down and go back down to the earth. So it almost becomes like a cycle, coming up through the legs and then down to the earth. And again, I want to take 1 minute in silence as you let this cycle continue, as you let this come up the legs, fill the earth, the hips, and then go back down to the earth. So we'll take 1 minute here in silence. can really feel the great job you're all doing at this. Take another couple breaths, feeling this, taking this in. And if it's helpful, one thing I like to do is just place my hands on my thighs and just gently press down. And you can either move the hands from the top of the thighs down towards the knees, or if you prefer to let them rest in stillness on your legs, you can just simply let the hands rest palm facing down on your legs with intention. And so either way, if you're feeling the hands going down the legs, you can imagine as well that there's energy through the legs that you're encouraging to ground, feeling that move through from the hands through the legs down to the earth. If you're staying still, just feel the energy from your hands starting to aid and assist that energy in moving down, coming down through the legs. And even if you don't feel anything right away or notice anything right away, let yourself have the time to absorb it and set the intention that happens, and trust that with that intention, that's possible. So just a few more moments like this. Again, it can feel nice to connect with the body when we're grounding. And so the connection with the hands intentionally touching the legs, either moving down the thighs in whatever position you're seated in, or just letting the hands rest and sending that intention. We'll just take a few moments like this as you allow and invite that to happen, and really feeling the power you have with your own intention setting, and using your body as a channel and as a conduit for your intention. Take a couple more times and a couple more moments of feeling that. And then let's take one more minute in silence where you simply observe. What do you notice now? How do you feel? And anything else that would like to deepen, or any other practice that comes to you, let that happen and let that come in. So let's just take 1 minute in silence. And then just knowing and checking in with yourself. How are you feeling now? What do you observe? Take a moment if the eyes are closed, and open your eyes, and again do the orienting practice. Just let your gaze follow around the room, see what you observe, see how you feel now, or see how you see the room you're in now. Did anything shift? Do you feel differently? Do you see differently? Just take one more moment of checking in and observing. And then as you feel ready, you can come back to the center and sort of end your time. And if anyone has any comments or questions, I just like to leave a couple moments and a couple minutes here to respond. And just know that this is available online. If you want to go back at any time and do these, you can come back and do this. And I'll also just say that if you or anyone you know wants to work, I do individual work with people. So you can do one-on-one energy work or sort of spiritual coaching work. And I am available for that. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. You can check my website or just email me directly for any information. And if anyone has any final comments or questions, we can go through that now. Otherwise, thank you, Kathleen. Great to see that. Yeah, this is something that's available to us always. It doesn't take more than a couple minutes sometimes to just ground and remember that we can do that, and doing it throughout the day. So, yeah. Okay. So if there's great. I'm glad this was helpful. Thanks, everyone, for your comments. If there's no other questions, then I'll just go ahead and end for today, and I will look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. All right. Take care, everyone, and have a grounded day.